Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to imagine something. Picture a seed planted in the soil. It doesn't announce its growth. It doesn't scream for attention. It simply absorbs the nutrients, the water, the sunlight silently, patiently, until one day it bursts through the ground as a mighty tree. Now ask yourself, are you that seed, or are you spending your time explaining your process to people who don't even care? Today, I want to talk about a concept that can transform your life. Focus on yourself and stay silent. It's about growing in silence, moving with purpose, and letting your results speak for you. Here are 7 key principles to live by. Imagine waking up every morning with a full tank of energy. It's yours. It belongs to you. It is the fuel that drives everything. Your ambitions, your purpose, your joy. But the moment you step out into the world, people start reaching for it. Some ask for a little, some take a lot, and some don't even ask. They just drain it without you realizing. If you're not careful, by the end of the day, you've got nothing left for yourself. And that is the real tragedy. Your energy is your currency. It is more valuable than money, more precious than time, because without it, you can't do the things you need to do, the things that set your soul on fire. And yet so many of us spend it recklessly, handing it over to people who haven't earned it, who don't respect it, who don't reciprocate. You do not owe anyone access to you. You do not owe anyone an explanation for why you are working late, why you are setting boundaries, why you are walking away from negativity. Stop explaining yourself. Stop apologizing for wanting more, for being ambitious, for refusing to engage in pointless conversations that drain your spirit. Think about the most successful people you know. Do they spend their time arguing with people who don't believe in them? Do they waste their energy justifying why they are making bold moves? No, they don't, because they understand the value of their energy. They understand that every minute spent defending their dreams to someone who doesn't believe in them is a minute stolen from actually building those dreams. And that is the choice you have to make every single day. Are you going to spend your time proving yourself, or are you going to spend your time becoming who you are meant to be? We all have that one person in our lives, the one who constantly doubts us, who questions our every move, who makes us feel like we are doing too much or aiming too high, the one who rolls their eyes when we talk about our vision, who subtly undermines us with a comment here, a sarcastic remark there. It could be a friend, a family member, a coworker. And every time you engage, every time you try to convince them, you are making a deposit into their doubts and a withdrawal from your own belief. Let me ask you something. Who are you proving yourself to? Why do you care what they think? If they don't see your vision, if they don't believe in what you're building, that is not your problem. It is not your job to make them understand. You are not here to be liked. You are here to win. And winners do not spend their time convincing people who were never meant to come along for the journey in the first place. There is an energy shift that happens when you start protecting yourself. At first, people will resist it. They will call you selfish. They will say you've changed. And you know what? They're right. You have changed. Because you've realized that your energy is sacred, that you cannot afford to give it away to people who do not appreciate it. That your time, your mental peace, your drive, these things are non-negotiable. Let's talk about silence. Silence is powerful. Silence is your greatest weapon. The people who have nothing going on will always be the loudest in the room. They will talk and talk, trying to get a reaction from you, trying to pull you into their drama, their negativity, their small-mindedness. But when you refuse to engage, when you stay focused, when you let your results speak for themselves, they have nothing to hold on to, because silence takes away their power. So stop explaining yourself. Stop seeking validation. Stop waiting for permission. You are not here to make sense to anyone. You are here to create, to build, to achieve. The people who truly support you will not demand explanations. They will not require you to justify your ambition. They will not guilt trip you for putting yourself first. They will understand, they will cheer for you, and they will respect your boundaries. And for those who don't, let them go. Because the truth is, not everyone is meant to have access to you. Not everyone deserves a seat at your table. Not everyone is capable of understanding what you are working toward. And that's okay. Your job is not to convince. Your job is to execute. Your job is to wake up every day and pour your energy into what matters, into your goals, your growth, your happiness. And the more you do that, the more you will attract people who align with your vision, who uplift you, who add value instead of draining it. So protect your energy, guard it like your life depends on it, because it does. And remember, the only explanation you ever need to give is through your actions. Let your success be the answer to every doubt, every question, every limitation that anyone ever tried to put on you. Let your results speak so loudly that you never have to say a word. There's something undeniably powerful about moving in silence. The moment you decide on a goal, the moment you feel that spark of ambition, hold on to it. Keep it close. Protect it. Because here's the truth. Not everyone will understand it. Not everyone will support it. And not everyone will want to see you succeed. When you announce your plans too soon, you open the floodgates to doubt, criticism, and negativity. It doesn't matter if your intentions are pure, if your dreams are big, or if your vision is clear. The second your goal leaves your lips and enters someone else's ears, it's open to interpretation, it's open to judgment, and suddenly it's no longer just your goal, it's everyone's opinion about your goal. That's dangerous. Two things happen the moment you share your dreams with the world. First, you get a false sense of accomplishment. Saying your goal out loud tricks your brain into thinking you've already done something. That satisfaction, that little rush of excitement, makes you less likely to put in the real work. It makes you feel like you're already on your way, when in reality you've taken no actual steps forward. And second, you invite the fears, doubts, and insecurities of others into your journey. People will tell you all the reasons why it won't work. They'll remind you of past failures, even ones that have nothing to do with you. They'll compare your dreams to their own limitations, and suddenly you find yourself second-guessing what you were once so sure of. The world will ask, "Are you sure? What if you fail? What if you're not good enough?" And slowly those words seep into your mind like poison. You don't need permission. You don't need validation. You need action. Think about some of the greatest minds in history. Steve Jobs didn't tell the world what he was building in his parents' garage. He just built it. Oprah didn't wait for the world to believe in her. She believed in herself. The most successful people don't waste their energy trying to convince others of their vision. They channel that energy into making it happen. When you keep your goals to yourself, you stay in control. You give yourself space to grow without interference. You allow your ideas to take shape without the pressure of outside expectations. Because let's be real, some people don't want to see you win. Not because they're bad people, but because your success reminds them of their own stagnation. Your ambition shines a light on their lack of action, and instead of rising with you, they'll try to pull you back down. Silence is not weakness. Silence is power. It's the power to build in the dark, to strengthen your foundation before anyone even knows what you're up to. It's the power to shock the world, not with words, but with results. Because when you move in silence, you eliminate the noise. You free yourself from the weight of unnecessary opinions, and you create an unshakable focus that no one can break. Think about it. What if every time you had an idea, instead of telling 10 people about it, you spent that time working on it? What if, instead of seeking approval, you sought progress? What if, instead of explaining yourself, you let your results speak for you? That is where real success happens. There will be moments when the silence feels lonely, when you want to share your excitement, your wins, your progress. And you can, when the time is right. But understand this. There is a difference between sharing from a place of confidence and sharing from a place of needing validation. The first empowers you, the second weakens you. The journey to success is not about how many people cheer you on. It's about how committed you are when no one is watching. It's about how much effort you put in when no one is clapping. It's about whether you have the discipline to stay consistent, even when the world has no idea what you're up to. So move in silence. Let your actions be the loudest thing in the room, and when the results come, because they will, watch how quickly the same people who doubted you become the ones asking for advice. Success doesn't need announcements. It needs work, focus, and the courage to build even when no one is looking. The strongest version of you isn't built in the spotlight. It's not created in the applause, the recognition, or the validation of others. No, it's forged in the quiet, in the moments when no one is watching, when the world is asleep and you're grinding, when others are comfortable and you're pushing beyond what feels possible. Greatness isn't given. It isn't luck. It isn't some divine blessing handed down to a chosen few. It is built, brick by brick, day by day, with the relentless commitment to becoming more. It is the result of showing up when you don't feel like it, of making the tough choices when no one would blame you for taking the easy way out, of staring down self-doubt and fear and doing the work anyway. Think about the greatest athletes in the world. You see the trophies, the medals, the victories, but you don't see the 5 a.m. training sessions when their bodies ache and their minds beg them to quit. You don't see the days when progress feels invisible, when the only thing keeping them going is sheer determination. That's where true strength is built, not in the moments of glory, but in the moments of solitude, when it's just you and the work. When you push yourself past the breaking point, not because anyone is watching, but because you refuse to settle for anything less than the best version of yourself. It's easy to talk about growth, easy to make plans, set goals, dream big. But plans don't make you great. Action does. The willingness to do what others won't. The discipline to put in the effort even when motivation is nowhere to be found. The courage to keep going even when the results aren't immediate. Most people quit when it gets hard. They tell themselves they'll try again when they feel more ready, when life isn't so overwhelming, when the timing is better. But the truth is, there will never be a perfect time. There will never be a moment when everything aligns just right. If you wait for that, you'll wait forever. You must create your own momentum. You must be willing to show up for yourself, to demand more from yourself, even when no one else does. Because at the end of the day, it's not about proving anything to the world. It's about proving something to yourself. Think about the people who inspire you, the ones who have achieved what seems impossible. They weren't born different. They weren't given an advantage that you don't have. They simply made a decision to do the work, to push through the resistance, to keep going when everything inside them screamed to stop. And that same choice is available to you right now. You don't need permission. You don't need anyone to believe in you. You just need to decide that you are worth the effort, that your potential is worth the sacrifice. You can choose comfort or you can choose growth, but you can't have both. The path to greatness is uncomfortable. It will stretch you, challenge you, test you in ways you never expected. And that's exactly why so few people make it. Most people stop when they feel pain. They see discomfort as a sign to retreat. But the ones who rise, the ones who succeed beyond their wildest dreams, they see discomfort as a sign to keep going. They know that pain is proof of progress, that struggle is the birthplace of transformation. So what are you willing to endure for the life you want? How far are you willing to push yourself when no one is watching? Because that's the real test. Not how hard you work when you're being recognized, but how hard you work when no one will ever know. You will not always feel like it. You will not always be motivated. But that's the difference between those who dream and those who achieve. Achievers don't rely on motivation. They rely on discipline. They don't wait for the right moment. They create it. Right now, in this moment, you have a choice to keep waiting for someday or to start building today, to keep making excuses or to take full responsibility for the life you want. The strongest version of you is not created overnight. It is built through thousands of small, unseen moments, through the decisions you make every single day, through the work you put in when no one is clapping. Stop waiting, start building. Because one day, when the spotlight finally finds you, when the world finally sees what you have become, they will call you an overnight success, but you will know the truth. You will know the sacrifice, the discipline, the relentless work that made it possible. And in that moment, you won't just feel proud of what you've achieved. You will feel unstoppable because you didn't just chase greatness, you built it, one unseen, relentless day at a time. You don't need permission to succeed. You don't need approval to chase your dreams. You don't need someone else's validation to tell you that you are worthy of greatness. Too many people stay stuck because they are waiting for someone, anyone, to say, yes, you're good enough. But let me be clear, nobody is coming to hand you that permission slip. Nobody is going to show up and say, now is the perfect time to step into your potential. J.K. Rowling was rejected by 12 publishers before Harry Potter became a global success. Can you imagine if she had given up just because the world wasn't applauding her yet? What if she had let those rejections define her? What if she had decided, well, I guess this dream isn't meant for me? We wouldn't have the magic, the inspiration, the millions of lives changed by her words. But she didn't wait for someone to approve of her. She didn't let the world's doubt become her truth. And neither should you. The truth is, most people aren't going to believe in you until you prove them wrong. And that's not because they don't care about you. It's because they're trapped in their own fears, their own insecurities, their own limitations. They see your dreams through their lens of doubt. They assume that if they couldn't do it, then you can't either. But their fears are not your fears. Their limits are not your limits. And their approval is not required for you to move forward. How many times have you held yourself back because you were afraid of what people would think? How many times have you shrunk your own potential because you were waiting for validation? Think about it. Maybe you've had an idea, a passion, a vision that excites you, but instead of chasing it, you hesitated. Instead of moving forward, you looked around to see if anyone else was clapping. And when they didn't, you started to doubt yourself. Stop looking for approval. Stop seeking permission. Stop waiting for someone to say, you are worthy, because you already are. You don't need the world to agree with you before you take the first step. You don't need applause before you start running toward your goals. The people who succeed are the ones who decide, without permission, without validation, that they are going to make it happen no matter what. Look at every successful person you admire. Do you think they got there because everyone believed in them from the start? Absolutely not. They got there because they believed in themselves when nobody else did. They got there because they refused to let rejection, doubt, or fear stop them. They got there because they didn't wait for someone to say, it's okay for you to be great. They just went for it. Rejection is not a stop sign. It's not a verdict. It's not a confirmation that you're not good enough. Rejection is part of the process. It's a test to see how bad you want it. Every time someone tells you no, every time you face an obstacle, every time you feel like the odds are against you, that's an opportunity to prove to yourself just how much you believe in your vision. So what if they don't approve? So what if they don't understand? So what if they think you're crazy? Their opinions do not pay your bills. Their doubt does not determine your future. Their approval is irrelevant to your destiny. The most powerful people in this world are not the ones who had it easy. They're not the ones who were handed success. They're the ones who kept going when nobody believed in them. They're the ones who picked themselves up after every failure. They're the ones who decided deep in their soul that they were meant for more and then did whatever it took to make it happen. Do you know what the real secret to success is? It's not talent, it's not luck, it's not intelligence, it's belief. It's having an unshakable, unstoppable belief in yourself, even when nobody else does. It's looking at your dreams and saying, I don't care who doubts me. I don't care who doesn't understand. I am going to make this happen. Right now, you have everything you need to start. Right now, you have the power to take action. Right now, you can decide that you're done waiting for approval. You're done playing small. You're done seeking permission. Because the only person who needs to believe in you is you. This is your life, your dream, your future. No one else is going to fight for it the way you will. No one else is going to make it happen for you. No one else is going to wake up every day with your vision in their heart. That is your responsibility. That is your mission, and it starts the moment you decide that you are enough without anyone else telling you so. So stop seeking approval. Stop waiting for permission. Stop looking for someone to validate your worth. You were born worthy. You were born capable. And you don't need anyone's applause to start living the life you were meant to live. Because the truth is, the world isn't going to clap for you in the beginning. But if you keep going, if you keep believing, if you refuse to quit, One day, they won't just be clapping, they'll be standing on their feet, watching you prove them all wrong. When you start focusing on yourself, when you decide to level up, to become the person you were meant to be, something strange begins to happen. It's subtle at first, but then it becomes impossible to ignore. The people you used to call friends, the habits you used to indulge in, the environments you once felt comfortable in, suddenly, they don't fit anymore. And that's okay. Growth demands that we shed what no longer serves us. It requires that we create distance between where we were and where we are going. Think about a rocket launch. It starts on the ground, weighted, heavy, requiring an immense amount of energy to break free from gravity's pull. But as it ascends, the boosters that initially provided the necessary thrust detach and fall away. They served their purpose. They got the rocket off the ground, but they were never meant to travel the whole journey. The same is true in life. Some relationships, some habits, some ways of thinking, they were there for a season, they helped you in some way, but they are not meant to go where you are headed. And yet, too often we hold on. We grip tightly to the familiar, even when it's dragging us down. We let fear of being alone, fear of stepping into the unknown, fear of disappointing others keep us stuck in places we have long outgrown. But here's the truth. If you are serious about elevating your life, you have to be willing to release what no longer aligns with who you are becoming. This isn't about cutting people off without thought or compassion. It's about recognizing when a dynamic is no longer contributing to your growth. Some people will support your dreams, challenge you to be better, encourage you to push past your limits. Others will keep you tethered to an older version of yourself, one that no longer fits. You will notice the difference. Pay attention to how you feel after spending time with certain people. Do they energize you or do they drain you? Do they inspire you or do they instill doubt and fear? It's not just about people, though. It's about habits. It's about routines that keep you stuck. You can't say you want to be successful and then spend hours scrolling mindlessly through social media, numbing yourself with distractions. You can't say you want to be healthy and then consistently make choices that harm your body. You can't say you want a better life and then keep engaging in the same self-sabotaging behaviors. Growth demands sacrifice. It demands discipline. It demands that you get brutally honest with yourself about what is no longer serving you. And let's talk about environments. The places you spend your time, the energy that surrounds you. It matters more than you realize. If you are always in spaces that reinforce negativity, gossip, and complacency, don't be surprised when you start feeling uninspired, unmotivated, and stuck. You become what you surround yourself with. If you want to grow, you have to place yourself in environments that challenge you, that inspire you, that force you to expand your mindset. This is where many people struggle, because distance comes with discomfort. It can be lonely at times. It can feel like you are losing pieces of your identity. But what if you are not losing anything? What if you are simply making room for something better? What if that space you are creating is the very thing that will allow you to attract the opportunities, the relationships, the mindset that will take you to the next level? Imagine holding onto a rope that is tied to a sinking ship. You feel it pulling you down, but you're afraid to let go. Afraid of what will happen if you release the only thing you've known. But what if, just beyond your vision, there is a life raft waiting? What if all you had to do was loosen your grip to be lifted to safety? That's what it means to create distance. It's not about abandoning, it's about choosing to rise. People will misunderstand you. They will question your decisions. They will call you selfish, arrogant, or even crazy. But let me ask you this. Are you living for their approval, or are you living for your purpose? The people who truly belong in your life will adjust to your growth. They will celebrate your evolution. The ones who resist it, they were only meant to be part of your past, not your future. So be bold, be unapologetic about your journey. If something is weighing you down, let it go. If an environment no longer serves you, walk away. If a habit is keeping you stagnant, change it. Your future self is waiting on you to make the decision. The only question is, are you ready to rise? There's a reason the most successful people talk less and listen more. The loudest person in the room is rarely the smartest, yet so many fall into the trap of believing that speaking more equates to knowing more. But real power, true influence, and lasting success come not from noise, but from the art of observation. Think about the lion. It doesn't roar before it hunts. It doesn't announce its intentions to the world. It moves in silence. It studies, it observes, it waits. Then, when the moment is right, it strikes with precision. And that's exactly how the most successful people operate. They don't need to be the ones shouting from the rooftops, demanding attention. They don't need to prove themselves with empty words. They simply watch, listen, learn, and act with unwavering certainty. Silence is a weapon. It's a tool that grants you an undeniable advantage. When you are silent, people don't know what you're thinking. They don't know what your next move will be. You become unpredictable. You become someone they can't easily figure out. And in a world where most people give away their plans before they've even started executing them, unpredictability is a superpower. Yet so many squander this power. They feel the need to fill every silence with words, to prove their worth by talking more, by explaining themselves, by justifying their ideas before they've even had time to take shape. But the truth is, every time you speak unnecessarily, you're giving away something valuable. Your thoughts, your plans, your strategy. And once it's out there, once people know what you're thinking, they can use it against you. Great leaders, great innovators, great visionaries, they understand this. They understand that true influence isn't about being the loudest. It's about being the most intentional. It's about speaking only when there's something worth saying, and more importantly, knowing when to stay quiet. They recognize that the person who listens the most learns the most, and the person who learns the most wins. Observation is an art. It's a skill. And like any skill, it must be honed. You have to train yourself to resist the urge to always be the one talking, to always be the one filling the space. Instead, step back, watch, listen, pay attention not just to what people say, but to what they do, because actions reveal far more than words ever will. How does someone move when they enter a room? How do they react when they're uncomfortable? Do they avoid eye contact? Do they shift their weight from side to side? Do they fidget? People give themselves away all the time, not through what they say, but through the subtle details of their behavior. And if you're paying attention, if you've trained yourself to truly observe, you can see the truth long before it's spoken. This is how you gain an edge. This is how you position yourself ahead of the competition. Because while they're busy talking, trying to impress, trying to make their presence known, you're gathering information. You're learning their weaknesses, their habits, their patterns. You're positioning yourself in a way that allows you to act at exactly the right moment, just like the lion. And let's be honest, most people don't do this. They operate in a constant state of reaction. They hear something and immediately respond. They feel something and immediately express it. But successful people, they pause, they assess, they wait, not because they're afraid, but because they understand the value of restraint. They understand that a calculated move is always more powerful than a reckless one. When you master the art of observation, you begin to see things differently. You start to recognize patterns in people and situations and opportunities. You develop an instinct for what's coming next. And that instinct, that's what separates those who succeed from those who struggle. Because when you can anticipate what's ahead, you can prepare. You can position yourself in a way that ensures you are always one step ahead. Think about the most successful people in the world, the entrepreneurs who build empires, the leaders who inspire movements, the investors who always seem to be ahead of the curve. They aren't operating on luck. They aren't guessing. They aren't throwing things at the wall, hoping something sticks. They are watching, understanding the game at a level that most people never reach, and that's why they win. So ask yourself, are you listening, or are you just waiting for your turn to talk? Are you observing, or are you too busy making noise? Are you positioning yourself for success, or are you giving away your advantage without even realizing it? If you want to be great, if you want to excel in any area of your life, you must become a master observer. You must train yourself to see beyond what's obvious, to hear beyond what's said, to notice the details that others miss, because in those details lies the power. In those details lies the advantage. Silence is not weakness. Silence is not passivity. Silence is power. It is the space where wisdom is cultivated, where understanding deepens, where the next move is carefully crafted. And when you do speak, when you do act, it will be with a clarity, a precision, a force that leaves no room for doubt. So be like the lion, move in silence, watch, listen, learn, and when the time is right, strike. Every day, people talk about what they want to do, what they plan to achieve, how they're going to rise to the top. But the truth is, words without action are empty. They don't build legacies. They don't create wealth. They don't command respect. The world does not remember those who only spoke of their dreams. It remembers those who built them. You don't have to convince anyone of your worth. You don't have to shout about your intentions. You don't have to explain why you are deserving of success. Just show up, do the work, and let success do the talking for you. You've seen it before. People who talk big but never move. They make promises they never keep. They dream but never act. And then there are the silent ones, the disciplined, the relentless, the ones who don't need to declare their ambition because their progress speaks for them. They don't waste time explaining why they're going to make it. They just make it. That is the power of action over words. When you commit to something, truly commit, the results will show. No explanation needed, no justification required. People will see the discipline in your eyes, the determination in your posture, the fire in your presence. You will not need to convince them. Your actions will introduce you long before you ever have to speak. And when you do speak, your words will carry weight because they are backed by proof. Think about the strongest, most influential people you know. They don't waste time telling the world how powerful they are. They don't beg for validation. They don't need applause before they take action. They move in silence, work in the dark, and when the results come, the world takes notice. That is the mindset of true success. The tallest tree in the forest does not need to announce that it is growing. It simply grows. It reaches higher, strengthens its roots, spreads its branches, and one day it stands above the rest, not because it demanded attention, but because it earned it. That is the essence of success. You don't have to explain why you are great. You don't have to convince anyone that you deserve more. Just focus on becoming undeniable. Focus on your work so much that success becomes your language, your introduction, your presence. And when the results start to show, you won't have to explain anything. People will see it. They will feel it. They will recognize the discipline, the persistence, the sacrifices you made. The journey will be etched in your presence. The work will be evident in your results. You will not need to validate yourself to anyone. This is where most people fail. They want recognition before the work is done. They want to be acknowledged before they've earned it. They want the applause without the discipline, the reward without the sacrifice. But success doesn't work that way. Success doesn't come to those who demand it. It comes to those who dedicate themselves to it without needing permission. It comes to those who are willing to put in the work day after day, without anyone watching, without anyone praising them, without immediate rewards. And when success finally arrives, it speaks for itself. So stop talking about what you're going to do. Stop seeking approval. Stop trying to explain yourself to people who will never understand your vision. Instead, let your results introduce you. Let your growth tell the story. Let your achievements be your voice. Because in the end, no one can argue with success. No one can deny results. And the person who stands tall, backed by undeniable proof, never has to justify their presence. They simply are. This is your moment. This is your time. Move in silence, work with discipline, and let success do all the talking for you. So, here's my challenge to you. Focus on yourself and stay silent. Move in silence, work harder than anyone expects, keep your energy sacred, and when the time is right, when you've built something undeniable, you won't need to say a word because success speaks for itself. Thank you.